Hey dude, check this out. Aha! B for Bill.
Welcome back to the Out of Touch podcast. I'm Chris, that's Bill, and today we are watching The Mask of Zorro from 1998, directed by Martin Campbell. So Bill, what do you think of The Mask of Zorro?
I would say it's the best Zorro movie I've ever seen, but it's also the only Zorro movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, me too, and it's weird because I knew about Zorro before this movie, like way before this movie.
Oh yeah, I mean when I was a kid, I don't know if you ever saw it, you might not, it might have been on cable, but there was a
Cartoon.
I was talking about a live action show.
Oh.
Yeah, in the 90s, there was, I think it was on for like 4 seasons, there was a live action Zorro show. And that's my earliest memories of Zorro.
I must have seen that show, because...
At least been aware of it.
I mean, it's weird. Zorro was like this thing that everybody knew about back in the 90s.
He's a very famous fictional character. He persisted on film and television for decades. Till about 2005-ish. And he kind of disappeared for ever.
Yeah, pretty much. But this is The Mask of Zorro, which is kind of like Zorro Beyond in a weird way.
But it also predates Batman Beyond.
That's true. But,
because traditionally, Zorro is Don Diego.
Yes.
Who is a dashing, masked vigilante, essentially. He's the influence of Batman.
Yeah. He's an aristocrat by day and a vigilante by night.
Not even by night. Also by day.
Also by day. That fights for justice.
Pretty much.
Because I guess his main thing is he's fighting Spain for Mexican independence.
It seems to pop up in these movies
at least in this one.
Yeah.
And the other one, he's just fighting corrupt people.
Traditionally, he fights the corrupt and he protects the innocent.
Yeah.
Standard.
He's Robin Hood.
Stuff. A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
He's like Robin Hood, except cooler, because...
He has a mask.
Yeah, he has a mask, and he has a sword, and he has a horse.
And sometimes a gun.
And sometimes a gun. And sometimes a whip.
Yeah. Yeah. Often a whip.
He's got a whip.
No guns in this, though.
No.
Strictly sword.
Just sword and whip. But, yeah, this is The Mask of Zorro. It's a great movie. I've probably seen it a lot.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it a bunch over the years.
Yeah, so...
Used to be on TV a lot.
Yeah. So, where do you want to start? I mean, like, do we do a plot synopsis? I mean,
well, the movie opens up with the final adventure of the original Zorro.
Right.
And it's grand, it's epic. There's 2 young boys who witness his adventure, and then everything goes bad for Zorro.
Yeah, I mean, Zorro gives the one kid his medallion that he wears, and then Zorro is betrayed, or I guess
he's not betrayed.
Found out.
Yeah, there's just like a moment of recognition with what the hell is his name?
Raphael.
Raphael?
Yeah.
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 And he figures it out, and he confirms his suspicion with an injury that Diego has, and the house gets destroyed, his wife gets shot and killed by mistake, and then he gets chained up, and freaking Raphael steals his baby.
Yeah, just... pretty messed up. Raphael steals Zorro's daughter, and it's like throws Zorro in prison
for 20 years.
Yeah, just hardcore. Raphael is pretty evil, and it's weird because like he was in love with Zorro's wife, but she clearly didn't like him. But
well, no, she married somebody else.
Yeah, but he's like super delusional.
I mean, credit where credit's due. He didn't want anything to happen to her.
Yeah.
One of his men shot her, and he immediately stabbed that guy in the chest.
He did.
He's like, how dare you?
Yeah. But I guess he is sort of like a governor or something.
At least, well, the movie opens up. It's the waning days of Spanish rule in Mexico, it seems.
Yeah.
And he's trying to weed out Zorro to try to kill him, which... does work, but doesn't work, but then does work because he captures him and throws him in a prison and then flees to Spain for 20 years.
Yeah. Which is interesting. It's like interesting because like the movie begins with like, you know, for 300 years, like California has been under Spanish rule, and it's just like you always forget, like, man, like Europeans were in America, or at least like North America, way before the United States even existed, like for like a long ass time. But it's an interesting time period of like Spain, California that you always forget. Like, oh yeah, California was part of, Mexico at one point and everything.
Which was controlled by Spain for a very long time.
Yeah, but Zorro is awesome because he is kind of just a superhero.
That's exactly what he is.
Yeah.
As you see here, I have the Curse of Capistrano. This is the original Zorro story. He really is. He even has like the public persona like Bruce Wayne eventually got, where he's all like, oh, what? No, I can't even. And no one, for a second, would ever think Diego was Zorro. This lazy, worthless, this guy could have lifted a sword to save his life.
Yeah.
But it's all an act. It's all a ruse. He's the best sword fighter in the land.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting, too, because it's like, Batman's got his Batmobile, Zorro's got his cool black horse.
Yep.
And in this movie, I guess we'll get into when Alejandro becomes Zorro and the comedy duo of him, like, trying to ride the horse all the time and it never working. But we meet Alejandro and his brother, who I always forget his name because he kind of seems like he gets killed like immediately.
He pretty much does.
Even though like he's like the main like motivation for Alejandro becoming Zorro.
I mean, in fairness, we did spend time with him as a kid as well.
Yeah.
He's in fact the one Zorro put the necklace around the neck of.
Yeah, he was actually the true apprentice.
I think he might share a name with a historical figure that was an influence of Zorro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're bandits, they're outlaws, but they get accosted by the Reverse Flash.
And here I was starting to think you'd forgotten all about me.
You've got to have! Now who's the villain, Flash? Now who's the villain?
Wait, what?
Yeah, that captain guy. That's the Reverse Flash.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Like, when you say Reverse Flash, do you mean like the one from
The guy that's the real Thawne, not the Wells Thawne.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Weird, right?
Yeah. I don't know what the deal is with that captain guy. It's like, was he from like the U.S. Army, or was he not good enough to be in the U.S. Army, and then like Raphael hired him and he's just like, I'm gonna dress like a proper soldier because...
Yeah, maybe. He seems more like a mercenary.
Yeah.
But he definitely is American because he sounds it.
Yeah, definitely. I always forget. I don't know his name. I'm sure they say it, but they just say captain all the time. And I'm like, are you even a captain?
Yeah.
You work for Raphael. Like, you're a captain of what? Lies?
I mean, he apprehends his brother, but...
They have, like, a name. Like, they're bandits, and they have that, like, crazy guy with them, like, the three-fingered bandit or whatever.
Three-fingered Joe, I think it was.
Which is pretty funny, because at first you think that guy captures Alejandro and his brother, but it's all part of like a clever act.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't work. They get captured and...
That guy gets shot.
Yeah.
He actually turned up later.
Indeed.
He got shot again.
But that kind of leads to Alejandro becoming Zorro, and...
He meets the old man who finally escapes from prison because Raphael visits him in prison trying to determine if he's still alive or not.
Yeah.
Can't recognize him after 20 years because he wouldn't have a picture because...
1821.
Yeah, doesn't exist.
No. No cameras yet.
Nope. I mean, maybe actually probably at this point in the story, early cameras. 1840s maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
But there wouldn't be any pictures of Zorro.
No. Zorro doesn't stand still long enough.
He's looking at like a badly done, half-completed portrait of 20-year younger Don Diego, and he's like, maybe. I think they got the eye color wrong.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy that he just like flees to Spain and then just like is like, oh yeah, I left Zorro in jail, but he's still like super afraid of Zorro because Zorro cut a Z in his neck before in their last battle.
Yeah. He also knows how dangerous he is, but I mean, Zorro just sat in place for 2 decades because he was sad.
Yeah.
But just the second he realizes he's back, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Just like immediately breaks out of prison. And he goes to try to kill him, but then sees his now adult daughter, and he's just like, my child!
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like messed up. It's like, I took your daughter, and she thinks I'm her father now.
I mean, if you want to get back at somebody, that's a pretty twisted, sadistic way to do it. It's be like, you know that child you love? It's mine now.
Yeah, they don't know who you are.
I'm her dad.
Yeah, but Alejandro is depressed after his brother dies. He wants to kill that captain guy, but old Zorro stops him from like throwing away his life while he's like too drunk to.
It's like you would die in 2 seconds, kid.
Yeah. Like some of my favorite parts of the movie are just like the training. Like I love when like he's like, "Do you even know how to sword fight?" And like Alejandro's like,
"Yes." The pointy end goes into the other man.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess.
I like when they start their first practice duel and he's just swinging the sword.
Yeah.
And the Diego just swats it out of his hand like it's nothing.
Yeah. It's great. It's, you know, it's super fun. And, you know, Antonio Banderas plays Alejandro, and he's great in this movie. I mean, he's great in most of his movies, but this movie especially is like, you know, it's got that like fun factor that.
It's a swashbuckling adventure movie. Like, even if it's got some heavy stuff, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy, but like at the same time, it's like Zorro is not like a violent murderer.
No, he more just like thwarts people.
Yeah, and he's like kind of like loved by the people. You know, like all the people are like, you know, he's like a true hero.
Yes.
You know,
the champion of the oppressed and all that.
Yeah.
To add to the superhero origin story aspect of it, Alejandro even has his, like, I have a prototype costume on Little Adventure when he goes to steal the horse that he sees, that he's like, that one.
Yeah.
That horse is mine. That's my tornado.
Yeah, and that horse has a lot of personality. Like, he won't let him ride him and stuff. He constantly gets out of the way when he, like, tries to jump on him. It's great. And, like, the sword fighting is, like, really good, because like sometimes when you think of like that more European style of like sword fighting, almost like fencing, you always think like, oh, that's like kind of like lame and stupid, but I don't know, it really works in this movie because it's done well. You know, I mean, I don't understand the aspect of like fencing where you put like the one hand behind your back, but it must be for like balancing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
for like the lunges and stuff.
In real life, you wouldn't do that in like a real fight. You know, fencing is just a sport.
Yeah.
I mean, it could also be done like, put your hand behind your back. Why? Because otherwise you'll punch him. It's true.
I mean, Zorro does punch people in this movie.
Well, it's not a game. It's real life for him.
Exactly.
He's got to punch people.
It's pretty fun.
To me, the best sword fight action scene is probably when he first finally has like the proper Zorro outfit on, and he's like invades Raphael's house to steal the thing, and he's fighting all those guys at once.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. He's doing backflips and shit.
It is cool. I mean, there's the part where he has like the two swords and he's like fighting like the two groups of guys at once. And just like, oh, damn. It's just like Zorro's crazy.
This is why this movie was a hit.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's very much like, it reminds me a lot of like, you know, the Mummy movie, which came out like close to this.
A year or so
later. But yeah,
it's that same adventurous tone where it's serious when it needs to be, fun when it needs to be, knows how to strike the right balance.
Yeah,
it's never too silly. It's the sweet spot. It hits the sweet spot.
Yeah, it's like the bad guys are pretty much like bad. They're not like gray or anything.
No, there's no moral ambiguity with these bad guys. That captain guy's a sadist. He's got Alejandro's head in a jar in his friend's hand. They just kidnap people and force them to dig for gold.
Yeah.
And they plan to just kill them all because they don't want Santa Ana to realize that they're giving him his own gold as a payment to buy California. Like they're just bad people doing bad things.
Yeah.
That's what you need for a movie like this. The bad guys should be bad and the good guys should be good. I mean, Alejandro's a thief at first, but he becomes a true hero by the end.
Yeah, he's a lovable rogue.
Yes.
Then yeah, but there's a lot of good moments, like when he's like, you know, playing the role of like the aristocrat trying to infiltrate Raphael's inner circle.
Yes.
I guess like, you know, Raphael's daughter, or, you know, Zorro's daughter, she's kind of into him, but then like he says like something like really like snobby and stuff, and she's like, oh, maybe I'm not into him. Like maybe he is actually a jerk. But then like, you know, they have their like super dance scene to like distract all the people and stuff. But Yeah, it's good. I forgot the name of Catherine Zeta-Jones' character. I think it's Elise, or is it
Elena?
Elena, that's right. Yeah. But I don't know what else to say. All I can say about this movie is it's good. It's so good.
I wish they didn't wait 7 years to make a sequel.
True. I don't even remember the sequel that well, but I'm pretty sure I saw it in theaters.
I saw it on TV once. I didn't even finish it.
Yeah.
I don't even think it was that bad, but I don't know. When you're like a teenager and you're like, they got a kid in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's probably not as good as this. There's probably a reason why it didn't do that well. I mean, it's too late.
Yeah.
7 years later should have been like, that's when part 3 comes out.
Yeah. I mean, this movie kind of is like kind of the complete package. I mean, it's weird that, it's the original Zorro passing the mantle to like the new Zorro in this movie. And then like, original Zorro dies at the end of this movie. So, the next movie didn't even have like, Anthony Hopkins in it being like old Zorro.
No. I mean, it makes sense that they would do that. It's all sad and all that. Anthony Hopkins gets to do a dramatic death scene and all that.
But it's weird because like the movie like kind of flips forward like to like an epilogue at the end where you see like, Alejandro and Elena are together and they already have like a son, and it's just like, oh, okay, I guess like that's it then. Like,
I mean, not all. There was still a time when like even if you wanted to make a sequel, you didn't blatantly like to be continue your movie or bullshit like that.
Yeah.
Usually you made a movie and if people liked it and you wanted to do another one, you did another one.
Yeah.
And whatever, they have a family. I mean, maybe if they knew right away they wanted to make a sequel, maybe you don't have that scene.
Yeah.
So that maybe at the end of part 2 they get married and then you have a kid in part 3.
There you go. It's almost like, after Raphael's defeated, it's like, you get the whole aspect of like maybe Zorro's not needed anymore because like...
He does say, well, if he is ever needed again, he shall come.
Because the main guys that are controlling, California are these guys called like the Dons. And I think most of them kind of just like sort of get dispatched throughout the movie, even though like they don't really focus on it. But it's like Raphael kind of took out most of them on his own when he was like trying to usurp power to like become, I guess, the king of California or whatever his title would have been when California is an independent country.
Well, he said independent republic, so he'd be like, I'm the president.
That's true. It was going to be a dictatorship.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I know in the second one, it's, at least at the start, it's around the time California became a state.
Oh, okay.
So I know that's where that one started. So they incorporate history in those movies.
Yeah, they do mention that, like, the Mexican-American War is happening right now, and that's why the leader of Mexico needs money.
Yeah.
Because he has to, like, fight his war against the Americans, so... But, I don't know, all I can really say is Zorro is cool.
Yeah.
It's a shame there's nothing else with Zorro.
I've heard whispers, there have been talk for years about something else with Zorro. Someone tried for years to do a post-apocalyptic version of Zorro.
I hate that idea.
I don't like it either.
Yeah.
Then there was like a TV show called Z, which would have been set in the present day with some girl that would be his like descendant in like modern LA. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
You keep Zorro.
Just do Zorro if you're going to do Zorro.
Yeah.
No post-apocalypse bullshit. No modern day. Just a guy in the 1820s with a sword and sometimes a gun.
Yeah. Sword, gun, whip.
I get maybe that's not as popular, but maybe you could do a streaming show. I don't know. I've heard talk that maybe there is going to be a show from some streamer. I don't know if that's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
It remains to be seen. Nothing, I think, has really been done outside of comic books with Zorro since The Legend of Zorro in 2005.
Yeah.
It's weird how, like, this property would... every once in a while you get, like, a movie or TV show or whatever. It just kind of, this movie happened, it was like, yeah, and then they waited too long and they made another one and everyone forgot about Zorro.
Yeah. But the thing is, when you watch this movie, you're like, man, Zorro is cool.
Yeah.
Why isn't there more Zorro stuff?
I want to see if that 90s show holds up at all. I want to check that out.
Yeah. I remember the cartoon show was okay.
Is it the one where it was set in the future?
No.
Well, there's one where it was set in the future and he had a laser whip.
I don't know if I'm thinking of the Zorro cartoon show now. Maybe I am thinking of the live action show, but my frame of reference is anything I watched as a kid is probably a cartoon. It becomes especially confusing when like I think of Batman 66 and I'm like, yeah, it was a cartoon. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, it was live action. Oh wait, no, there was like both, and they played them at the same time for some reason. Or the show had a cartoon opening, but then it was live action.
And then years later, Adam West and Burt Ward did do a cartoon show.
Yeah.
That one makes a little sense.
Yeah, but maybe I am thinking of like, yeah, probably live action Zorro, because like Zorro fits in that like, you know, built for like a TV show, like the Legendary Journeys of Hercules and stuff like that.
Sure.
You know, each week he's got to go fight a different bad guy or whatever.
Absolutely, gotta stop a thing, do a thing.
You know, I mean, he's pretty much Batman. I mean, he's the inspiration for Batman. So you know,
they blatantly acknowledge it in Batman's stories. The movie he usually sees with his parents the night they die is the mark of Zorro.
Yeah, he's got the Zorro layer.
Yeah, I don't know who had that first.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, like I don't know if like in the source material Zorro has a butler. And
I mean, he's a Don. He has a whole bunch of.
Yeah, but does he have like a butler that knows he's Zorro?
Not in this book. I mean, he had one that was like deaf and mute, so maybe but he never acknowledges that he's Zorro to anybody until the end of the story. So
okay.
I can't say. I have to say no. He doesn't have an Alfred.
Yeah. There's like a lot of things too. It's just like, why is Zorro Zorro? Like,
yeah.
Like I don't even know his like origin, because like everything I've seen is like he's already Zorro.
Well, because he saw a lot of people being mistreated and stuff, and said, you know what, I'm gonna do something about that. There's no tragic backstory with Zorro.
No.
Not the original one anyway. The Antonio Banderas one, yeah.
Yeah.
There's an episode apparently of I'm pretty sure it's the 90s one that has Adam West in it, playing someone with the last name Wayne, with an obvious lawyer-friendly Batman ancestor, and I'm like, I need to see this.
Nice.
I need to find this episode and watch it.
Batman. Batman's family knew Zorro, because of course they did.
I like it.
Yeah.
I approve.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Zorro's cool.
I know somebody has the rights to Zorro. I don't think they'll be like, you know, what if we did Old Man Zorro with Antonio Banderas? I don't think they'll do that.
No. But I guess Zorro should be entering the public domain soon, right?
It's kind of tricky because it's like this story would enter the public domain.
Yeah.
But, you know,
the character of Zorro.
But there's like stuff that's not in this. The look of Zorro came later. I don't know.
Okay.
It's all things like this get kind of murky. I don't know. I would like to see something more with Zorro.
Yeah.
This movie is really good.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's got me watching it again. Has me like, all right, is there another good Zorro thing I can watch? Like, does the original Mark of Zorro from like, well, not the original because like there's the silent movie one, and then there was like a sound one from the 30s. Like, is that a fun watch? Will I enjoy that? Like, is there anything else? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know there was Disney made a TV show in like the 50s apparently.
Oh wow.
They've done it all.
Yeah.
They've done it all.
Zorro cut Z's into people.
Definitely not until recently.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened in the book, but they weren't doing that on TV in the 50s.
No. He would just cut the Z and like after he stops somebody as his like calling card.
Yeah. You
know, or like, you know, into somebody's shirt, I remember sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But we got the famous trailer scene where he cuts off Lena's clothes. In my mind, I always thought like, wait, I thought he cut a Z in her and then like her clothes fell off, but it was like, no, he just like, ha,
yeah.
I'm Zorro.
They got it's all over the trailers. It's the opening and closing of the movie. The cutting the giant flaming Z into the screen.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool. Z for Zorro. And it has that awesome rap song at the end.
Oh, yeah.
From the Z to the O to the double R-O, he's a dude in a mask from the barrio. With his horse and his mask and his big old sword, he'll cut your butt from a 52 Ford.
The rap song is the best.
Yeah. Odd choice, though.
It is an odd choice. But
do that?
I don't know. A lot of movies from the 90s did that, though.
Yeah. for some reason.
It's inexplicable.
But The Mask of Zorro, if you want to watch something that's a fun, cool adventure film, it's basically a superhero movie, but it's also in a different genre.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess in many ways it's like a proto like superhero movie.
Zorro is a prototypical.
Yeah.
He's like a prototype for what became comic book superheroes. Like he was one of the prototypes, the masked vigilante with a secret identity.
Yeah. But go watch The Mask of Zorro from TriStar.
Huh. Oh man, you know what? It's probably good that they don't make another one of these, because then they would try to spin off a shared universe out of it.
I mean, they definitely would. But like, I don't know who Zorro could like cross over with.
I don't know. The Shadow.
I don't know.
What's a pulp hero?
Zorro's in a very like unique time period that
he's not quite the old. He's not really in the Old West. He's kind of before that.
Yeah.
Because all the guns are one shots.
Yeah.
So, I guess you could push Zorro a little later and have him team up with, I don't know, the Lone Ranger. That popular character.
No.
I'm just trying to think of like characters that exist in that time period.
I don't know. Everything is like later 1800s.
Yeah.
Where it's like Zorro kind of is.
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if the Zorro has crossed over with the Lone Ranger at some point.
Man, they probably did like Zorro versus Billy the Kid.
I know Quentin Tarantino did a Zorro Django crossover.
Okay.
So that might be interesting.
I guess that would work, but it would have to be like old Zorro though.
I guess. You just fudge the time period.
Yeah, I guess.
You say, this Zorro started in 1840.
Then again, I don't know. Every time you think of like, I'm like, did Django take place during the Civil War, or was that just like earlier?
Slavery was still a thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know the specific time period of Django, but I could.
I guess it could work. Yeah.
You could fudge Zorro to 1850 something.
Or it could even be earlier than that, because it was around for a long time. So yeah, I mean that does work.
Yeah, the timeline works.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could have a time travel team up with Batman.
Man.
If that hasn't happened.
Yeah. It's like Zorro and King Arthur, and Zorro's the King of England at the end.
Zorro falls through a time portal and has to team up with Robin Hood.
Oh man, that's a crossover right there.
Oh no, we're thinking about this all wrong. We gotta get with the times, Chris. The Zorroverse, the multiverse of Zorros.
Oh my God.
So all right, who do we got? We got Antonio Banderas. We'll need a new Zorro. We can bring back the TV guy, and we'll CGI recreate the one from the 30s.
Oh my God, no.
It's happening.
No. Then there's like future Zorro and
with the laser whip that I mentioned. We'll bring him in.
No, nothing. Zorro doesn't need a multiverse.
It's too late. It's happening. Everything's got a multiverse.
In this multiverse of Zorro, the horse is actually Zorro, and he rides the man. It's really weird.
Bizarre.
Yeah. There's like a steampunk Zorro, and he has like an electrified sword.
The anthropomorphic Zorro that's a fox.
Oh man. Well, I don't know. Zorro's like supposed to be from like Mexico, so shouldn't he be like something else? Like, I don't know, either like a coyote or like a jaguar.
Zorro translates into fox.
Oh, does it really?
I believe so.
Oh, well, never mind. Yeah, I guess he's a fox then.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Enter Zorro into the Zorroverse, coming soon from Sony.
That's it for this week. Go watch Zorro until they ruin it. Are you happy?
No.